I want to bring in ABC's Matthew Dowd and Amy Holmes, a political analyst for Rasmussen Reports. Great to have you both here with us this morning. Matt, first off, you've got the president saying the fake news media is not his enemy, but the enemy of the American people, the fake news. Then the president goes out during a campaign rally and says, you look at what's happening last night in Sweden. Who would believe this, he asked. But of course, we know there was no incident in Sweden. The president did explain later he had seen something on Fox News. But the president bashing fake news and then making reference to an incident that never happened, Matt?
Well, it is rather bizarre, as we know. One thing I'd recommend to the president, he don't go after ABBA or meatballs at this point. He ought to stay away from both of them. I think this is a problem in the media. Most of the media has now united in saying that, listen, we ought to get to the truth. And the president of the United States ought to be the first person that speaks the truth. If he doesn't want fake news, he ought to not enunciate things that he knows. Either he knows or he's unknowingly saying stuff that just isn't true.
Matt, I want to turn to Amy here in the meantime. National security, you know, the president still has to fill General Flynn's role after having to fire him, citing issues of trust. You've got the labor secretary who dropped out. I want to play what Republican Senator John McCain said overseas in Munich, trying to reassure European leaders about a White House he described as one in disarray. Take a listen.
I think that the Flynn issue obviously is something that shows that in many respects this administration is in disarray.
You had the president telling the American people late last week the White House is a fine-tuned machine. Senator McCain says it's a White House in disarray. Which is it?
I think it is a forensic look at making the sausage in politics. And if you remember, President Obama, when he was looking to fill up his cabinet, he had some bumps along the road. We're 1 month into President Trump's presidency. And in point of fact, with this NSA advisor, he did have someone who said yes, Michael Flynn. Now he has to cast the net back out.
But, Matt, you saw the campaign rally over the weekend in Florida. This is a campaign rally for re-election. I mentioned at the top, 1,353 days until the next presidential election. Awfully early for this.
Yeah, and I would say I have two problems. I mean, I think it's good for Donald Trump's psyche, and I think that was the primary driver of this. Sort of he gets in front of adoring fans, and he feeds off of this. But I think two problems. One is you don't want to start doing campaigns so that everybody thinks the prism from which you're making decisions is political. And two, if you want to unite the American people, speaking to just your fan club isn't going to help.
All right, Matt Dowd, Amy Holmes with us this morning. Great to have you on President's Day.
Happy President's
Yes,
Day.
thanks so much.